our first featured poet is Francine Cunningham, and she's a Canadian Indigenous writer, artist, and educator. Her creative nonfiction has appeared in the Malahat Review, anthologies, Boobs, Women Explore What It Means to Have Breasts, Best Canadian Essays 2017, and was longlisted for the 2018 Edna Stabler Personal Essay. Her fiction and poetry have appeared in Grain as the winner of the Short Grain Writing Contest in 2018, The Puritan, Joyland, Echolocation, The Maynard, and more. She's a graduate of the UBC Creative Writing MFA program, winner of the 2019 Indigenous Voices Award for Unpublished Prose, winner of the Hanatchin Foundation's Reveal Indigenous Art Award, and a recipient of the TELUS 2017 Story Hive web series grant. On Me is her first book and has been shortlisted for the inaugural Jim Deva Prize for Writing and Provokes and the 2020 Indigenous Voices Award for Published Poetry.
All right, so this is my book, the one I'm going to be reading from. And I know you're wondering, and yes, I did draw the cover, which is a cool little fact about the book. So I'm going to read some poems. I'm going to read just a few poems from the book, and then I'm going to actually read some pandemic poems. I mean, why not? So they're new. Yeah, all right. So this first poem from the book is called, it's on tradition, and it's called Wishes. There are languages I wish I could speak. The language of the forest, how to move, how to be still, how to eat, how to survive. The language of love, how to commit, how to be vulnerable. The language of understanding, how not to judge, how to accept faults. The languages of the people I come from, Cree, Flemish, Dutch, German, French, Celtic. There are languages I wish I didn't speak. The language of trauma, how to hide, how to forget until you can't anymore. The language of abuse, how to take it, voice silenced. The language of the government, Bill C-31, blood quantum, identifiable, traceable. The language of goodbye, taken in every way. So that's the first poem. The next poem is called On Love, and the title is Star Matter. In the void between voids, in that blackest of darkness, of not even night, in that permanent cold, that place without breath, we float. Between the stars and their fiery belching heat, we strain to reach for cold hands to hold in our own. Shouting as we pass through the field of silent boulders, suspended as if arranged in a chess match by those we cannot fathom, yearning to hear from the other's lips the familiar words, I love you. Between the matter of stars, we spin and twist, hoping to catch a glimpse of the other's face. But we cannot push against nothing. So every poem in this book is on something. So they're either on family, on love, on identity, on mental illness, on purpose, and yeah, and then they all have their individual titles, and then the whole book is on me. So that's sort of how it's all organized.
I don't have a question, but I have a comment.
Okay.
I thought that was an amazing last poem. It was like the imagery. That was amazing. So thank you so much, Francine. I really enjoyed that poem, like so much.
I'd like to comment. I could comment.
Yeah.
Francine, I didn't know you. It's really good to get to know you. I'm a new fan for you, and I know the other two poets tonight. haven't got a brilliant question. It's just, are you as young as you seem? No, that's stupid.
I am.
Really
I-
impressed. You don't have.
Does it? No, I'm like, most people think that I'm like in my early 20s, but I'm actually in my mid 30s.
Congratulations. Great skin.
Yeah, I'll give that a thumbs up. There we go. Okay. Do you find there's a big difference between writing poetry and nonfiction for you?
No. Well, that's not true. My poetry, like almost 100%, I would say 100%, is all about me. My heart, my mind, my life is my poetry. I don't think I've ever written a poem about anything else. So I always talk about my poetry is where my heart lives. And so I'm also like, I also write fiction, so like short story novel, nonfiction, so like essays, and then I write for the screen also, so for like television. And those are all very different things that I write about, but 100%, the only place where I put my heart is my poetry. So I don't know if that quite answers the question, but.
Oh, yes, it did. Yes. Are there any other questions?
Scott, sorry,
Kim.
Nefertiti says
Okay,
she has
great.
a question.
Francine, wow, what a reading. My mind's reeling. I want to go back to the beginning and ask about the title, On Me. It has so many meanings. That's all I'll say. And I want to know more about why you called it On Me.
Sure. So yeah, as you can see, it's like, where's my camera? It's spelled out like this. And then when we look at the table of contents,
Why did you spell it like that?
yeah, let's see. I'll just show you. So it's all like that. So why did I spell it like that? Because I thought of this poem, like, so this poetry book is the first thing that I've published. So I thought of it as like my introduction to the world. So I really wanted to talk about who I was and sort of introduce myself. And I know like I'm gonna have a longer career in publishing. So I just really wanted to make sure I came out and introduce myself. And I feel like that is maybe more of an Indigenous worldview to do something like that. So usually when you're with an Indigenous group and people introduce themselves, it takes a long time because people tell you who they are, who their families are, where they come from. And it's sort of like a lot of information. So I wanted this book to sort of be that representation. And so I thought about it when I was structuring it more like an encyclopedia almost. So, which is why I have all the different categories. And unlike other books, they're not all lumped together. So it's not like all of the mental illness in one section, all of the grief in another section. They're sort of threaded throughout. And the reason why I did that is because I thought of the on identity poems as almost like a spine throughout the book. And then, so they carry the main narrative, and then every other sort of on section, so like on grief, on love, sort of branches off that spine. And so, but it's held together with the identity of who I am. And so I sort of, when I came to naming the book and I sort of looked at it all in all these different sections, it was just really obvious to me that it should be called On Me, because the whole book is just me.